That's very Bills-esque, if I might say, by the way. Is like they get their heads down, they're like trucking away, and then all of a sudden they pick their head up, game's over, and they've lost every time it comes to the Chiefs in the playoffs.
Wow. Oh, wasn't wondering how that one was coming around.
Great transition. I love it.
This
Way to
guy's
just
got
drag
it
a whole
in
city through
him.
the mud to open the show.
Good, as they should be.
Who do you get more joy from beating, the Bills or the Bengals?
Bengals.
100%. Just because they won't
Listen,
shut up ever.
there's a
I know, but like
disrespect
the
thing
Bills
with
are
the
better. The
Bills.
Bills are like a better team than the Bengals. I would feel better about beating the Bills than I would the Bengals.
Bills haven't been to a playoff game this century, or Bills haven't been to a Super Bowl this century.
I mean, that's fair, and
there's
the
a
Bengals
there's a
lost
respect
still,
thing
so
with the Bills, man. Like we understand that they're good. They get the better of us in the regular season. We get the better of them in the postseason. We understand that they're a good team. And there's even though there's animosity between the two fan bases, like we like to joke around with each other and whatnot. Like with the Bengals, it's just a lot of disrespect. They
No, it's
really
straight
did
hate.
nothing. They
yeah.
started they started calling our stadium something else. Their mayor started saying that Patrick Mahomes or that Joe Burrow was the daddy of Patrick Mahomes. There was a lot of disrespect going on there that wasn't like a joking haha thing. They thought it was funny, but literally nobody else did. And so I take no more enjoyment than beating the Bengals or watching them not make the playoffs, regardless of what it is that they think. There's more enjoyment in just like that whole process for me.
Cool, cool.
Yeah, the Bills fans, there's really nothing wrong with them. They like to get cocky, but they know where they are. They're a good team. They haven't
Yeah.
won anything, so they're not overconfident in what they can do, like the Bengals are. They don't get up right away.
I
The
feel like
Bills,
Bills fans and Chiefs fans are very similar. There's like a college-like atmosphere in the games. There's a big tailgating scene. Like you said, fairly humble fans until you win two Super Bowls in a row. You know, all that. Yeah. But
There
I
was
mean,
a
I'd be a big prick if I won two Super Bowls in a row. Like if my
Well,
team
yeah,
won two Super Bowls
the
in a row,
Bills
I'd be a
fans
big
are
asshole.
Chiefs fans with just copious amounts more snow and an affinity for those white tables.
Yeah. Foldable plastic table.
Yeah.
and
and
blue cheese, which is
and
disgusting.
spraying somebody with
Hater.
mustard and ketchup before every game. So
That
I don't
one's
think
weird.
Chiefs
Why
fans
would
do
you do
that.
that before a game? I would do that like after the game. We won. Douse me.
Douse
I don't
me.
think
Douse,
clip
douse
it.
me.
Man, you guys know me. I try to stay away from like national media because ESPN, Fox Sports, like they're just not good. We're seeing a little bit better from like the NFL shows specifically, where you've got like Dan Orlovsky and Mina Kimes, and they seem to be doing much better content over there, providing actual facts. But this week, I've kind of paid a little bit more attention just because we're coming up on the Super Bowl. We're coming like with this, we got 2 games left, and then the season is over, and you kind of want to see what people are saying about the game. Um, and there's a lot. There was earlier on most of the season, but earlier on in the playoffs, there's just been a lot of talks, especially this week, about how the Chiefs benefit from calls. Man, that's all it was. It was Chiefs benefit from calls, Chiefs benefit from calls, and there's actually been a lot of like Patriots dynasty sympathizers out there. They're actually remembering it fondly when that definitely wasn't the case during that time period. It was really it's just been really weird, and
Well, the
and we
rules
finally
that
kind
are
of
today were not in place back then. So to
well and
compare
like
like that, it doesn't work.
even then, like if you want to do the penalty thing, like again, you don't have to like it, but facts are facts at the end of the day. And I'm not telling you have to like it, but factual statements are true when saying that the Chiefs have not benefited more from calls than any other team. In fact, they've actually benefited less from penalties than most of the other teams.
Well, now just because you
Factually,
get
that
less
is
doesn't
a
mean you don't benefit. Now that's a skewed
no,
stat.
I'm saying
Just because you
saying
don't
we
get as
don't
many doesn't
benefit
mean it doesn't help you.
we I'm saying we benefit less than other teams, which is a factually true statement. Whereas you look at the Patriots and a factually true statement shows that they actually benefited more from penalties than any other team, while the teams that were playing against them benefited less than
What's
any other team.
benefiting from a penalty though? Like,
Getting more yardage, getting more first downs,
well,
things of
most
that.
penalties give you a first down on the defense. So, like, how is that?
I'm just combining offensive and defensive. They benefited more
Yeah.
by either being able to
Look,
But
pass
we're
the
not
ball.
talking about the
Hi,
Chiefs'
Bob.
defense right here. We're talking
Your
about
stats
the
aren't
offense.
like passing like the
Yeah.
visual test and like
Yeah.
when these penalties are coming. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not buying into like we're in the refs are in our pocket type of thing. Like we are like paying for calls or anything like that. Like
Yeah.
the refs are on our side. It just what happened last week. There's two specific penalties that like don't go at least in like the whole narrative of this argument. They don't go in our favor, right?
No.
There's the Will Anderson Jr.'s roughing the passer call, and then Patrick Mahomes late slide in between two defenders that getting called as well. Soft ass penalties where technically they do pass the letter of the law. Like this is the way the rule is written, and this is what you're supposed to call. But when you add in that quantifier of what are they like forceful contact?
Yeah. To the head and neck area.
Yeah, that's when both of those hits just like fall flat for me. Like Pat is not in danger in either of those situations. The second one was as good of a football play as the defense could make. Pat's late slide is bullshit. And then the third thing on top of all this, on top of the calls that we're actually getting, is Pat is now full on flopping.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Pat's not selling stuff here and there. He is full on flopping for penalties, and that's a terrible look as a Chiefs fan, dude. This is the whole reason why I hate LeBron.
Yeah.
I hate LeBron for pandering to the officials and trying to leverage his way into getting calls and all that bullshit. Like D Wade does it a bunch too, but I fucking hate LeBron because he's literally more physically gifted than everybody else in the league, but he feels like he has to try and get calls to like get the benefit in certain situations. Pat is more physically gifted than 90% of quarterbacks.
He doesn't
out
have
there.
to do it.
He doesn't have to be doing stupid shit like that.
Now, I would say though, the Patriots were really, really good at knowing the rules. That is like part of like tiptoeing by the sideline, dropping late is part of like knowing if I get hit here, I could probably get us an extra 15 yards. Now, I'm not saying that's okay. Also, too, like there's a lot of been a lot of talk like Josh Allen fucking flops too. I think
Josh Allen is so much.
I think
bigger
flopping in the
flopper than
NFL
Mahomes.
needs to be eradicated. Like there's 2 minutes in hockey for instigating, and like you should get a flag for flopping.
In their careers, Josh Allen has received more roughing the passer calls, and he has thrown in those roughing the passer calls. He's also attempted almost 1,000 less passes than Patrick Mahomes, just between the two. And the penalty situation is not where I wanted to get caught up in. Just kind of going through this, but to answer that visually, Tybo, visually, yeah, it doesn't look great, but statistically, it still shows that even in the moment, like when the goalpost gets moved,
we get
they want to say in the fourth quarter,
when we get flagged for illegal formation, when Jawan Taylor fucks up and gets flagged like he does more so than a lot of people in the league, you know, that happens to us, okay? We see it, we recognize it, it's a problem. But then as a Chiefs fan, like it kind of like burns my mouth to like say this. Like I feel like I'm getting a little backlash from the black magic that we have roaming around underneath.
You had the
Arrowhead
fucking
Stadium.
Rizzler at your game on Saturday.
But
bro.
if we go for it on 3rd and long, and we like Pat miscues, we drop the pass, do what is an incomplete pass, and we get bailed out by that flag. Like it's just amplified now. Everybody's got us under the microscope. Like
I'll take it.
Well, it just sucks that like it takes away
because
from how good you guys are. Like
It
I
really
would
does.
love to
I
just
don't like
watch
winning
your
that way.
games. Yeah, I would love to watch your games and be like, wow, the Chiefs are far better than any other team in the NFL. This is so fun to watch. But because there is this conversation around the refs and penalties, it takes away from that. And I don't like that. I don't like thinking like that.
But
Patriots is different.
To throw this
Fuck
out
East
there,
Coast,
it's also a false narrative. By whatever goalpost you want to move it around. Again, I understand it visually. It doesn't look great when you look at it from an actual.
So how's that a false narrative? If it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck.
Okay, but then again, when you look at the actual statistics of the penalties
this
thrown,
isn't baseball, dude. This isn't baseball.
the Chiefs get less penalty yards. They receive the lesser of the penalties
Yeah,
and
but
beneficials.
you're also, again, you're just talking about it in the umbrella as the
Yeah,
overall
you
penalties
can't-
and
you
yards.
can't paint with a
You're
broad
not
brush
talking
here.
about
Even if
like
you'd let me
our
talk, I
third.
would get there because when you get to the when you
Then
move the
fucking get there,
goalpost,
because you just repeated yourself
well, you
about three
keep
times on the
talking
same
over
fucking
me. I'm
thing.
trying to remind where I was speaking at.
Oh,
Because
we all
when
know
you
where you're
talk
at. You're a
about
fucking stat
third
head. All right,
down,
finish it.
fourth down, and in the fourth quarter, or more specifically, when you get down below the 5 minute mark, the Chiefs are they're like 31st for penalties received that are beneficial. So move the goalpost around as much as you would like. When it comes down to penalties that are beneficial to the team, the Chiefs receive the least amount of beneficial penalties, regardless of what you actually want to think you've seen in comparison to the rest of the league.
We just
I
saw
just-
two that extended
yeah.
drives for us.
Like,
And still statistically, it's lower than the rest of the league.
okay, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when 40 million people are watching the game and they see
And those
Pat
40 million
duck,
people are casuals.
then they see Pat duck get hit, and then a flag gets thrown immediately.
Like
And the other
40
thing too,
40 million
I
other
hate
people
how
watch
fucking
the rest of the
quarterbacks
season.
get hit and then they look at the ref waiting for a flag. That's bullshit too. Play the goddamn game. If you're
Blame
supposed
the
to get
NFL.
hit.
They are playing the game. That's the rules that they're playing with.
Well,
Blame
look,
the NFL.
that's a little nitpicky. Like, because how long have we had receivers wanting a call, looking at the refs, doing this with their
Quarterbacks do
hands?
the
I
same
don't like that
thing.
either, dude. I don't like that either.
DBs
Like,
do it too.
don't ask
Like,
for a
that's just
flag.
the way that the
that
way
means
that the rules
that
are
means
set up.
you lost. If you're asking for a flag, you probably lost that rep. In all honesty.
What I just hope to change with this team, like, they're not going to listen to this fucking conversation. It's like, oh, I'm going to change my ways, but like over time, I would like to see this team take the criticism, take everything in that, like, oh shit, the refs are on our side, we do all this blah blah blah, and not try to get calls from them. Listen to it and just be above it and just let the play do the talking. We don't need to go flopping and getting extra shit from the refs when there's already this false, or whatever you want to call it, there's already this narrative around the team. And we don't need to play into it and be like, let's try to get all the calls that we can and flop and do all this nonsense. Let's just let our play do the talking.
I think
That's
the
what
biggest
I
reason
want
that
from
the
my
narrative.
team.
Yeah, but the biggest reason that the narrative is there now is because the Chiefs have been in so many primetime games over the past 5 years that it's amplified to the next level. We see it more and more than any other team. Every NFL ref is god awful at what they do. They don't know shit at what they're doing.
The refs, that's
This
the
happens in
situation.
every
the rules
single
and the
game.
refs.
It's just amplified because the Chiefs are there
I wouldn't
every
say
single
every
year.
game, but I'd probably say like 80% of NFL games probably
Very
like
poorly officiated.
have like 2 or 3 calls in the fourth quarter or in the second half that completely negatively affect the team and like kill them. One last thing though, I think it's a really bad look for the Texans players and the Texans head coach to like acknowledge that. Like, that's a bad look for you. It's like, were you talking about that all week? Like, if you go into somebody else's barn, you're
Well, 'cause
probably not going to get a few calls. That's
it really
just how
sounded
life
like they were
works.
talking like that all week.
Oh, they definitely were.
Oh, they were. And
definitely
like, that's how you lose a game. Like, you're more worried about that than you are like beating. Dan Orlovsky said the Chiefs offense has no chance against the Houston Texans defense. He said that on TV last week. He said
Well,
that.
we know how good of a quarterback he was.
One of those teams got 8 sacks
He's a decent
in that game.
analyst. Yeah, I know. I know.
Huh.
He is. But then the narrative quickly
How about that?
shifted, right? So we started off with the penalties, and that's been a big portion of like this whole season. But over the last few days, the narrative of national media has really changed from where the penalties that the Chiefs are benefiting from to, well, now we're bored of watching the Chiefs.
That's what happens with every dynasty.
Watching the Chiefs
Yeah.
have been boring. Their games are just watching them, and now everybody wants the Chiefs to lose because we want to see somebody else, because watching the Chiefs are boring. The games aren't exciting. The Chiefs players aren't exciting. Beat us. Beat us. And I think the real reason why people are saying it's boring, the real reason why people don't want to watch the Chiefs, and maybe, Tommy, you fall under this category because you're not a Chiefs fan. They know
Watch
that
your
it's
fucking
going to
mouth here.
continue. They know that it's going to continue. Oh, Travis Kelce, he's old. He's going to be out of the league soon. Guess what? Patrick Mahomes is only 29. he's going to be here for potentially another decade, if not a little bit more. And they know that whatever is happening in Kansas City isn't going to be stopping anytime soon. So yeah, you're bored. You don't want to continue to see this. And that hurts the most, knowing that it will continue.
I mean, honestly, I remember saying and thinking about that with the Patriots. I was bored shitless at, oh, here comes another year with the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Like,
I think it's
it
a
going.
combination of everything. It's you playing on primetime all fucking year. It's
Beat
all
us.
the goddamn ads. Even when you're
Beat
not
us.
playing football, I have to see your asses.
Beat
That's
us.
like that's what gets people a lot. And you know,
Not
with
good.
winning comes all of those you know, like other
Yeah.
things that come along. Like
I don't remember Bill
all that.
Belichick doing any State Farm commercials. So
That's Bill
wouldn't
Belichick
even
would
allow
never do a
himself to be
State
put
Farm
in that.
commercial. Like, yeah, Bill Belichick would never do one like ever. So, but I mean, Tom Brady
Well,
was in
I
those
wouldn't
god
say
awful
ever.
Uggs. Can I finish?
No.
Okay, fuck yourself. Tom Brady was in those god awful Uggs commercials. Do you remember those, bro? Like
No.
those were. You don't remember those?
mm-mm.
Oh,
I didn't
those
buy
were,
Uggs.
those were terrible.
They were
on
commercials. You
TV,
had to buy
you
'em.
fucking idiot. Yeah.
They must not have been marketing to me because
I guess the UGG market isn't very big in Kansas City. Sorry, guys. But yeah, no, I think I just want to see a game with the Chiefs winning at the end and not everybody being like, well, this, that, and this happened in their favor, so the refs are helping them win. Like that's just I don't want to see
never
that.
going to happen.